Part 3. Didn't let him see it, but the kettle started brewing as soon as his mother pulled up in the yard. So we were talking about the mower and whatnot, and we were at the time sitting in my truck. We'll come out and sit in the truck sometimes, he and I, and just talk. And he suddenly, said, "I miss when you and Mom were together and happy." And this is something that he will start talking about every time. Well, constantly. Maybe not constantly. Often. We'll say often. At least once or twice a month he'll just randomly start a conversation like this. And I know that I need to try to redirect the conversation and try to change the topic, because we are not supposed to talk about this stuff to him, at least not until he's older. She will lie her ass off to him up until her deathbed to make her look better. Although I discovered yesterday that she has finally told him the truth. Maybe inadvertently. Maybe she didn't know how bad it would affect him. Maybe she didn't give a shit. I don't know. But this is something that I would not have told him. I don't believe in keeping him in the dark. I don't believe in lying to him. When he was, 4 or 5 years old, I just didn't talk about it. But as he starts asking questions, I don't believe in treating him like a mushroom, feeding him a lot of shit and keeping him in the dark, That's not who I am. That's not how I believe in treating and raising my child. I don't believe in lying to my child for taking the easy route. He's got questions. I believe in answering his questions and telling him the truth as best as I can. I sometimes I sugarcoat things a little bit. Sometimes he gets a much watered down version of things, because he is still a child. He's 7 years old. Well, he'll be 8 years old next week. Pardon me. But at the same time, I don't believe in lying to him just to lie to him. I don't believe in lying to him to make it easier on me, like she does. She is a liar by nature, so it comes naturally to her. I don't do that. But he said, I was talking to Mama about that the other day too. And he said, I told Mama, I miss when you and Daddy were together and happy. And he said, she told him, I know you do, but I wasn't happy with your dad. And he said, yeah, but you used to be. And this is what did it. This is what she said. This is what she told our 7-year-old son. She said, no. She said, I was never happy with your dad. He said, so when you were happy and smiling, you were just pretending? She said, yes. And then she kind of let it go, or at least he didn't say anything after that. And I I didn't question him. I try not to question him about things that go on at her house because one, I know it's going to piss me off what I hear, and two, I'm not going to be able to keep my mouth shut about it, and she's going to try to accuse me of using him to spy on her, you know, which I would not do. Do something like that to my son. That's something that you would do, Melissa. Um, and see, I knew this to be the truth. I managed to piece this together through her conduct, things that she said, things that other mutual acquaintances have said, things that I have picked up just because I sit back and I watch and I listen. I knew that our relationship pretty much the entire time was a ruse. I knew that it was bullshit. I knew that it was massively one-sided, that she never loved me, she never cared about me, that she never planned to stay with me long term, that I was always just a means to an end. The ends justify the means. And that's one thing I still don't really understand because the only thing she wanted from me was my child. She wanted a baby. And for some damn reason, which I still cannot figure, she wanted my baby. Her mother is an extreme man-hating feminist, and she has proven herself to be much more like that in recent years. My ex-wife. So I don't know if they got this thing where they, want to use and emasculate a man and then leave him for dead. I don't know. That's basically what her mother did to her father. And she tried to do the same thing to me. But maybe I was smarter than her dad. I was definitely stronger and a much more virulent opponent when it came to the divorce than her father was, I think. But it was also, 1989, 1990 versus 2021. Family law has begun to finally start to change over the years to be a little bit more fair. Because for the longest time it was, and still is to an awful extent, very heavily biased towards the woman, and there were reasons, 40, 50 years ago where those biases were necessary, but not anymore. And finally things are changing to be more fair towards the man and the father. But still, I would not have come out the way I did from the divorce if I didn't have a massively debilitating illness, Me having cancer and a ruined heart and not having any money, any resources is the reason the judge, I think, felt sorry for me and made sure that I got the house and I got 50-50 custody of our son. But that's the same thing that her mom did to her dad, and completely and totally ruined him, broke him. She took everything he had. She liked to act like, she built everything she had. She didn't build shit. She took it. And That's what Melissa tried to do to me. But I was not so easily destroyed as her father was. So I knew that pretty much from the beginning, I was never meant to be around for a long time. I was just meant to be around until she didn't need anything from me anymore. Her entire plan from the beginning was to use me, abuse me, and then lose me. And that's exactly what she did.